Welcome to Solutions with Courtney Anderson. I am Courtney Anderson, the host of the show. This is episode 193. 193. Woo! 193 episodes of this program. I'm shocked and happily shocked that the show has continued to grow and succeed beyond any of the original goals and hopes that I may have had. So thank you, community members, for making that happen. Of course, we have a show today that is part of the Satisfaction Saturation series. Satisfaction Saturation series. And of course, this is a series where we focus on sort of what happens after. What happens after you surpass your goal? What happens after you achieve your financial independence or educational completion or have the family you dreamed of? What happens after you surpass your goal? That's what we're talking about. This whole series is talking about that. And addressing the issue that you get such a, level of satisfaction and joy and glee as you surpass your goals, but at some point it becomes saturated, right? And now what? That's what we're talking about. Specifically here in episode 193, we have a show that is something that I personally identify with. And as you know, our show ideas come from you, community members. They may come from something that I read. They may come from something that I'm teaching or researching. So it's a variety of different experiences that we bring to our program. But this individual episode is one that resonates with me personally. And I'll talk about in our programs when it's something I personally haven't experienced or I haven't thought about or I hadn't considered, and I'll be as transparent as I can because I think that's really important. So this show, specifically our episode, is My Life is More Awesome Than I Ever Dreamed. I am grateful, but also feel guilty. Help! My life is more awesome than I ever dreamed. I am grateful, but I also feel guilty. Help! And as I mentioned, this is certainly a topic that individually resonates with me for multiple reasons. So I always mention, because I think it's really important that you understand that we have more than just this program available to be of assistance. And so if you come to CourtneyAnderson.com, that's our central website, we are constantly building out infrastructure daily. And so we have all of these programs, all of these, this show, which is our talk show. It's our radio, audio, podcast version of our show. And we have all of them. And we also have an individual web page. So there's a site on that, CourtneyAnderson.com, there's a page just devoted to this show, the episode show for episode 193. So please come by. On that page, you'll see all of the extended show notes. You'll see links to anything that I may reference in a program. You'll also see if there are any affiliated companion television talk shows. So this is our sort of our radio audio show. We also have a companion show that is our video show. And so we'll see links there. We also sometimes will put links to speeches or other media appearances that may relate to the content that we're discussing. So it's all there for you. And we have the ability, of course, for you to see our show sponsors. We have advertisement and links that will take you to the show sponsors. Those are the organizations that we enter into agreements to financially provide the opportunity to continue to grow the program and all of the resources. So please, if you're on the pages on CourtneyAnderson.com, you see something, you say, whoa, I was thinking I wanted to check one of those out or maybe buy that good or service. Please click on those links so that we can go ahead and let those show sponsors know that you came from our program. I do want to also mention, if you're out and about and you see our program or you access our program on any distribution channel, so whether iTunes or Stitcher or Spreaker or Libsyn or anywhere in the world that we are, please go ahead, if you have a positive and or constructive. Rating or review, go ahead and leave those ratings and reviews, and share our show on your social media. One of the things that, of course, that we do and focus on primarily, of course, is the quality. So the quality of the program, of the content, of everything that we bring to our community members and to our clients. And so part of what we rely on are members like yourself taking a second or two and spreading on your social media links to programs or anything that you think might be helpful. So get out there and spread the word if you think there's something that might be of use to other people. When we're talking about this specific show, it is one that is very controversial. It's controversial, and it's something where people aren't always receptive to discussing it. Obviously, it's one of the reasons that we have our program, right? Is to address the things that need to be focused on. And so when I say it's controversial, let's talk about the first part of this show. So the first part of the show topic is, my life is more awesome than I ever dreamed! Exclamation point. I ask all the time in all of my materials, it's all over our website and our programs, what can we do, right? What can we do together to help you surpass your goals? And we constantly focus on that. And then, of course, we have this whole series, Satisfaction Saturation, which is built solely to address what happens after you surpass your goal, right? We climb the mountain. Okay, I'm up here. I'm looking around. It's beautiful. It's awesome. I did it. Woo! Now what? So the the sort of hoped for consequence of the things that we share in our programs, our processes, our techniques, and all the things that we are focused on, the goal, of course, was that you'll surpass your goal. And if you continue to do these types of activities where you're practicing a joyful art of business, that's where you're monitoring your emotional and psychological response to make sure that it's working for you, right? That you feel good more often than not. Over time, what will happen is that you'll look around and you'll sort of think, wait a minute, how did this happen? How am I living in my, it's not even my dream home. It's bigger than my dream home, or it's more beautiful than my dream home, or it's more, relaxing, or it's bigger than I dream. How do I live here? How is this mine? And you look around at some point, you think, this is my life. I love my work. My financial planning is providing me opportunities. And everyone's different and has their own way of experiencing things. But for my own anecdotal opportunity, it snuck up on me. There wasn't any sort of, I woke up one day and I was like, wow, I surpassed my goals and woo, look at this. My life is more awesome than I ever imagined, right? I'm living the dream. I never had that moment. There were individual moments in life where I would think, wow, I'm at the title company and I'm closing on this house and this is really, woo, it's beautiful. It's bigger than I ever dreamed. Or wow, I graduated from school with that degree. Yeah. I mean, there are those moments that I certainly experienced and was excited about, but I didn't ever have sort of one list, I guess, so that when I would get to the bottom of the list, I would finish that last thing, I'd cross it off, and I'd say, woo, I'm living the dream. Haven't had that happen. Maybe some would argue, maybe you're not living the dream, right? It's all relative and it's all subjective. But I actually do think, and I've done, obviously I do select, because of time, we only have so much time, but I do some select mentoring and coaching, and I was having a discussion with someone relatively recently, and I was realizing I am. Everything that I ever set out to do, I've done it, and I've surpassed it. Right? So I certainly wanted to get my education, a formal education, and I set out to do that, and then I surpassed it. Right? I've as of the time of this show, I have 4 college degrees. A doctorate and a bachelor's and 2 master's degrees. So I've far surpassed the goal, right? And am moving toward my fifth. I have multiple homes. I have all these interesting business opportunities. This program and all of the wonderful corporate education and training programs and speaking events and the courses I teach. And the rigor of scholarship I'm engaged in my areas of interest. It really is. It's more than I ever, specifically you never know. Like, so it's not like you're a little kid and you think I'm going to live in that house at that address. I mean, some people do that, assuming they never move, but most of the time you just have a sort of like a general idea of what you'd like to do, how you'd like to live. And then, like I said, for me, I was having this discussion in the mentoring and coaching session, and I was realizing I really am. I mean, I knew that I was practicing the joyful art of business, right? Because more often than not, I really do wake up. I woke up today, and I was excited. I really was. And there wasn't anything, glamorous happening today. I wasn't going to Tahiti or something or whatever. I have a regular schedule, writing and working on some research and conducting some of my student tasks, and of course we always are looking at show time, so I had scheduled time for recording the program, but it wasn't anything particularly like momentous, but I wake up excited. I really do. And it's been like this for a long time. And as I said in this discussion, it dawned on me when I was having the mentoring and the one-on-one coaching session, I realized apparently a while ago, I mean like over a decade ago, I probably surpassed, the dream and then a little extra. And so when you every day, we all have our regular activities and you sort of focus on what's right in front of you. I got to get this done and get that done and get that done. I do understand, and I've been appreciative of the fact for a long time that I'm fired up, right? That I really am excited. Now, for you or someone who doesn't share the same interests I have, you may look at what I'm doing and think this looks horrible. It looks boring. Typing on a computer and working on an issue for a class or teaching, and then in your time later doing some of your private consulting work. I don't see where that's interesting. It looks boring. You know what I mean? But that's because everybody's different. This is one of the things that intellectually turns me on, right? I love what I do. That's why I set it up like this, to be able to do these things. And like I said, for me, it wasn't any moment where I thought, wow, this is it. I'm living a dream. But I do recognize that's what's happening. And it's really awesome. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about in this program that I said is controversial is a lot of people don't want to hear this. I mean, you don't hear a lot of programs. You hear a lot of programs and discussion about how to get to the point where you live the dream. And you have a lot of discussions where the person maybe putting on the program maybe saying, hey, I live the dream and here's how I did it. And if you buy something from me or do something with me, then I can sort of show you or teach you. That's one type of issue. I'm talking to you because we are both here in this program, because we both, all of us, feel like this is more awesome. And I'm just using the things that were interesting to me. So you may say, yeah, my life's more awesome. I thought, I'd have a family, and my family's more awesome than I ever imagined. I've got 9 kids and they're healthy and they're fun. And I mean, it's whatever. Or you may think, what? I have a, the pet tortoise. I apologize. The pet tortoise of my dreams, and I'm an artist, and I'm painting, and I get to paint, and I'm living the dream. So it's all different, right? So whatever our dream is ours, and it's what turns us on, right? And so the specifics are going to be different, but the feeling is the same, right? Where you really do wake up and feel, wow, this is my life, and it's great. And like I said, it's also challenging. Part of it is that when we, no matter what it is that turns us on, is we're living the dream where it's like, wow. One is, of course, these are so specific. So other people may look at you and think that's the dream. You're painting something, I don't understand. Or you have all these kids, or you don't have kids, or you have a tortoise, or you have a parakeet, or you're doing the volunteer work, or like they won't. One, there's a lot of that where people will say, "I don't get it," and the point is, of course, well, yeah, they're not you. They have their own version of their dream they're gonna experience. So that's one thing. People, but when someone's sort of negative like that, I don't get it. That's the dream. It looks boring. My dream would be, to be on, a fashion model on the runway in Paris. Okay, well, okay, are you living the dream? Usually, the only people who are negative are the people who feel they're not living the dream. And they really don't want to hear us talk about how amazing and awesome and exciting and energized, our lives are. They really don't want to hear it. And that's sort of where you'll get that pushback. That's the dream. I wouldn't think that's the dream. That wouldn't have been anybody's dream I would have had. That's nothing. That's nothing. And you don't have anything. I mean, that's nothing. Okay. So that's part of it that's controversial. And then the other part of it is, even within ourselves, right? Even within ourselves, we are going to be in the situation where we're asking, hey, wait a minute. I'm grateful, right? That's the reaction we get to something awesome. You say to yourself, I am grateful. This is, woo, my life is more awesome than I thought, right? I look around, I'm like, that's my family. Wow, they're awesome. This is where I live. Ooh, I can't believe it. This is the work I'm doing. These are the people I get to talk to. These are the pets I spend my time with. This is the health. Look at that. Ooh, it's better than I dreamed. Look at that. Who would have thought? Okay, so part of this, of course, is that there are people who are going to not feel that they're in that situation, who really don't want to hear what we have to say. And again, what our normal response, healthy response, is I'm grateful. Nobody's entitled to anything, in my opinion. We talk about this in so many of our programs. You're not entitled to live the dream. You're not entitled to anything. You may have opportunities other people don't have. Maybe you were born into a royal family. Maybe you were given opportunities based on your characteristics, right? Your gender or your tribe or something of that nature. But you're not entitled to an outcome. And we have so many examples currently and in our history as humans of a person who had every opportunity, right? They were born with every advantage. And their life, they self-sabotaged, made really poor choices, and it was full of pain and awful things, right? So there's no entitlement to this. Some people may have had a head start. Some people may have had an advantage sort of at the gates, at the outset. But there's no guarantee. And so part of it is the gratitude and understanding, we did either have, you can use whatever term you want, part of it is just good fortune. You're alive. And the natural disaster didn't hit your place, and that's not that's just good fortune, right? I mean, you had nothing to do with that. The tornado didn't hit your place. The tsunami didn't hit your place. The Civil War didn't break out where you lived. You just, that had nothing to do with you individually. Just good fortune. So part of that you need to be grateful for, and understand that for anybody else in those situations, that could be, and that may be, and that you're no different from anyone else. So, and be grateful for that. And that's just good fortune. There's nothing to do with it. A larger part of our existence and living this awesome life that's more than we ever dreamed is the choices and the outcomes, right? So strategic planning, asking ourselves constantly, what do we want? Setting those defined goals as we move toward them, always monitoring and adjusting our activity to ensure that we're getting things done in the most effective way. There's so much that goes into getting to a point where you wake up. Not every second of every day. I wake up and I'm sick. So, then I'm not super excited that day because I don't feel well. Or something bad happens. Something bad happens to me. There's an accident. Oh, goodness, I'm in a car accident. Well, yeah, that wasn't the greatest day. That was a horrible day. It was a car accident. Something bad happens to people I directly are in my life, my people I care about. Oh, gosh, I'm so upset that happened to you. Or something, it could be something that I'm one of these people that, and this is part of the second part of the show today, I read a lot. world events, and then I watch a variety of news outlets, mostly online. So I try to watch European, Asian news outlets from different parts of the world, so that I can not only see what the media in the United States or North America says, but I want to see how other parts of the world, their media is presenting something. And one of the things that I'm, again, grateful to be alive, that the technology allows me to do that. It really is interesting. From the Middle East, from Russia, from wherever I can read and access and watch and listen to media, I do it because I want to better think through things myself, right? And to be able to do that, I'm going to have to, of course, have a variety of data. I can't just listen to one media because that's what that one media has interpreted. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's, quote, true or anything else. But when I'll often see events in the world and it overwhelms me, with just the second part of the show episode topic, right? So the first part is, my life is more awesome than I ever imagined, than I ever dreamed. My life is more awesome than I ever dreamed, right? That's the first part. We talked about that. I am grateful. Woo, yes, I am grateful because I do understand that some of this is just however you philosophically or scientifically or spiritually or religiously interpret it. That's not the issue, but some of it is way beyond our control. Just, hey, the tornado didn't hit my house, right? Nothing to do with that. But the other part of it is that there are other choices we have made, right? Maybe, hey, I had insurance. I planned ahead. I saved a little bit of resources so that when something bad happened, I was able to handle it. And so there's a combination of things that are within our control and things that are external. And then, of course, our attitude and our personality are just so important. So we're grateful. Woo! I'm grateful. I'm alive, literally at this exact moment, to the best of my understanding, right? And that's awesome. But I also feel guilty. Help! But I also feel guilty, right? So the whole show topic is, my life is more awesome than I ever dreamed. I'm grateful. But also feel guilty. Help! And the guilty part, often for me, like I said, I'm seeing something in the media globally, and I just viscerally, physically sometimes, I feel ill, I'm overwhelmed. A war, a famine, a breakout of a virus, of course, all types of abuse and degradation, all the things that we as humans can do to just to inflict pain, and I just, it's so heavy. So part of the problem or challenge, but not, I actually don't find anything wrong with the word problem, but it's not popular, so we like to call it challenge or opportunity. Part of this is that individually, when you're sort of full of that glee and excitement, other people really don't want to hear it. The people who don't want to hear it are the ones who don't have it. And they just do not want to hear it because it does two things. One, it makes them ask at some level, how are they so happy? And then the other point is, and why am I not? And then that's where they're very derogatory. Oh, I don't see how you're happy. You have 9 kids. That's horrible. I don't see how you're happy. I mean, all you do is sit on the computer most of the time. I mean, you just write stuff and read all the time. I hate reading. So it's just a way to try to diminish what we're doing. And that's part of what is difficult. Of course, the other part is that I individually, I know many of you, I feel guilty that the other people are so unhappy. Now, again, it doesn't, logically, which is where we always are focusing, because I'm a pragmatist, or at least I've been told that tends to be my approach to life, right? What works in the world as it is. But I want other people, to feel that it's working for them, their lives. And it breaks my heart when people are so unhappy. That's part of why we have the joyful art of business, right? Because I'm trying to think of everything I can to help avoid the outcome. And I do go to a lot of professional meetings with people who are very highly educated and credentialed, right? So a meeting of university professors, faculty, a meeting of practicing licensed attorneys. These meetings are very selective, because to be at the meeting, you have to have literally the statistics, of course, vary depending on part of the world you're in, but like 1%, 1 to 3% of people in the US, adults obviously, have, doctorate degrees. It's a tiny group. So by the time you get meetings of people that all have doctorate degrees and usually have multiple other degrees and or licensed lawyers, you're talking 1 to 3% of the population. So that's a tiny, tiny, tiny group. And when people in that group are unhappy, it just breaks my heart, because I feel like if this group can't find a way to not be miserable, then what hope is there for everybody else? And you can totally make that argument when you look in our media and our culture that we now, of course, through technology, share so much of, interconnected across the globe. We'll see somebody who was a famous athlete or a famous politician or a famous movie star, or somebody, famous business person, anybody that's famous, something, right, that we looked at maybe and thought, wow, look at them, right? They have it all. They're famous and or talented and or beautiful and or athletically gifted and or rich. And then it turns out that they self-sabotage and they hurt themselves or self-harm. And sometimes they actually, erase themselves. They actually end their own lives. It's just, how does it happen? And there's a complex set of individual factors, but basically, big picture, of course, they weren't waking up, looking around their life and saying, this is more awesome than I ever dreamed. I'm so grateful and excited. I can't wait to get to my activities today. They weren't doing that. We feel grateful, as we should. And again, allocate whatever percentage to whatever your belief frameworks are. But some things have happened in our lives. We had no control. I was going to say it was random, but I can't make that argument because people have different interpretations of it. So I'm not going to. We have shows about that. We've done a show, Everything Happens for a Reason. We've done a whole bunch of shows where we talk about the issue of free will, and we discuss, all these types of sort of philosophical and or decision-making frameworks. So we're not doing that here. But whatever you attribute the cause to, there are things that happen that are beyond your sphere of influence, and there are other things that happen that are. I'm going to argue, right? Did I pay my bills? Did I go and focus on eating food, that was healthy? Okay, so there are things that we can influence. And the core of the issue with this challenge, though, is my first response is, of course, to say, congratulations, right? Your life is awesome. It's more awesome than you ever dreamed. That is outstanding. That is what the whole, quest for most humans is. That level of some level of satisfaction. Of this, of looking around, and I've had this happen with friends and people I care about in my personal life, and I've said, I'm just sitting there. I mean, it could be we're doing nothing, right? We're just like sitting on a couch talking or something. But I'll feel it. I'll feel it in that moment, like this just rush of this, like this joy. And it's just, I'm overwhelmed right now, and it's just this. And sometimes I'll be out walking. I walk my beautiful, it's all subjective. I walk my dogs, and I live in a wonderful, my personal opinion, part of the world where we just have so much with hiking and nature. And so I walk a lot. It clears my head. And sometimes I'm walking and I just, I'm breathing in the air and it's great. And I'm looking at the sky and and the clouds. And, it's like that. This moment. It's so beautiful. And I'm so grateful. But then, of course, there's that guilt. And sometimes, as I said, it's because people are directly saying to me, well, I don't know why you're trying to act like this is a good thing. I mean, I hate this, this fill in the blank, law thing or fill in the blank career thing or whatever, and they're miserable. And then I feel guilty that I was feeling good. And then also I feel guilt, and that made them feel, I guess, sometimes I'll think, well, maybe I'm making them feel worse, right? Because I'm like, yeah, this is so great. And they're like, ugh. Easy for you to say. The reality, of course, is I don't have any control over how they feel. And I do understand that. So we're not going to get caught up in that. We've done programs. We'll continue to do programs, right? We did a program. Why do people do what they do? Because they want to and they're allowed to. So that has nothing to do with us. The fact that we're just there expressing, how good we feel about our lives may be an irritant to them, but that's not the cause, nor is it anything related to their own choices. But there is certainly the understanding of, wow, I feel guilty. So what do we do about it? First, acknowledge it, and that's why we're having this show. Reach out to me. Um, you're not alone. I don't think the data shows us that the majority of people feel that their life is awesome and is, better than they ever imagined or dreamed. But that doesn't mean that it's not something that's healthy and that we should respect. So let's do that. So let's celebrate. Woo! A life is more awesome than we ever imagined or dreamed. It is okay. And again, take those moments. I said earlier, I get very emotional just thinking about it. I don't care if you're walking, you're breathing, you're talking, you're eating, just anything. You're by yourself, you're with other people, you're with animals. I don't care what you're doing. You're with your computer. It doesn't matter. But that moment that you honestly, the only word I ever think to myself is just this. This. And whatever it is, you're typing, you're thinking, you're breathing, you're walking, you're talking, you're hugging. Whatever. You're like this. Just feel it. Feel that joy. Feel that rush. And fully be in that moment and be grateful. Now, the guilt part, we have one of our principles is of being of service, and we did a show about that, right? And we've done many other shows where we reference the concept. You need to be of service to other people. So since your cup runneth over, as they say, in terms of you're excited, you're fired up, and all of that, then you need to share some of that. And it could be with people, it could be with projects. But you need to be of service. It may be through a structured volunteer activity. It may be just independently. I was at the store the other day, and I was just buying, whatever random stuff I had to buy. And there's a gentleman there, and he was walking down the row, and it was an accident, but he sort of knocked over this little stand they had with, some food on it. It wasn't messy or anything. It was in packages. But anyway, it fell down. And I just happened to be there because I was going to buy something on that same section. And I looked at him, and he looked, but I don't know him, obviously, he's a stranger, but I looked at him and I thought, I think he looks embarrassed, right? And I thought to myself, now, how many times have I knocked stuff over or fallen down or done all kind of goofy things? It happens to me really quite frequently. So, it's happened to me, on stage. It's happened, hey, look, I totally get it, right? So, I immediately, I said something, I can't remember what I said. I said something like, hey, need a hand? And then I said something to him like, this happens to me all the time. And so, together we sort of picked everything up off the floor and put it back on the little section. Now, that's nothing. It wasn't volunteered, and it's not a big deal. But my point is, and we talked about in that other program being of service, you don't know when you reaching out to someone, and it may be reaching out by a kind word or just, a nice smile or helping them with something simple like that. You don't know the difference that may make for somebody. You really don't. Because the thing is, the people who are in this place where they're, I wake up and whoa, look at my tasks. And, I'm feeling that blissful moment while I was doing my walking. And yeah, look at that. That's one orientation to the world. That's not the majority of people. There's so many people that are in so much pain. I said earlier, many times we read about, or it's in the media, or we know them. There's so much pain. And there's so much pressure people are under. Some people feel squeezed from every direction. Their work is nothing but, pain, disappointment, and fear and anxiety, and their financial situation is precarious, and there are no reserves, and they're just worried, and they're constantly, at war with themselves and society, and everything they try to do, it's just disappointment and failure. And so look, again, our cups runneth over, right? We have a lot of these good feelings. Share some. Will that eradicate civil war in the world? No. Is it going to deal with the issues of famine and people who are literally at this moment right now dying of malnutrition? No. Will it stop violence and abuse and degradation, humiliation, exploitation? No. It won't. The optimist in me says, what can I do? And then we do it. That's it. We could spend till eternity talking about why what we do doesn't really matter and barely makes a difference, and why we can't do more and blah blah blah. I get it. It's it's something I think philosophically and or in terms of our study, academically potentially, or research. Yeah, let's address that. But in our lives, action, action. And if today you said a kind word to a few people or made a nice smile, or you know what? Yeah, you didn't go out and again eradicate, a disease. But you know what? You might have made it a little bit better for somebody. Do it. Guilt in some ways can be an albatross, right? It can be destructive. The things that we're comfortable attributing to some behavior that we were part of, right? So, well, okay, all right, I did go ahead and get the insurance. So then when there was the fire at the house, even though it was horrible and everything was horrible, at least the insurance was, in effect. And so it went ahead and paid to fix the house up again. Okay. So I don't care how you're able to do this, but you need to take some credit for the good outcome in some way. I don't care if you think it's 99.9% to some other external source and maybe just the little teeny tiny percent that you were attributable to you, then that's fine. Or you may be the other way and think, hey, it is 99.99% me, and then the point, 0.001%, to whatever else resource. But there's some measurement where we all understand, hey, that could have been me. That was, the fire. Uh-oh, there's the hurricane. Uh-oh, there's an earthquake, right? So however you balance it's irrelevant to me in this discussion, but the point is you need to be healthy and say to yourself, good job, and take pride and acknowledge that at whatever level you feel, you did have some impact on these good outcomes. Yay, us. Let's celebrate that. Woo, us. Woo, yeah. And then the way to deal with I think the guilt in a healthy way should be just a reminder so that we're not narcissists and become self-centered and destructive in that way, where we're not connected to our communities, to humanity. So being guilty should be just a little indicator to remind us, I need to be out there of service. Again, it may be that you're like, oh, of course I'm of service. I founded a foundation and I'm out tackling the biggest problems in the world. Great. It may be, hey, when I was running errands yesterday, I did look at 3 people and smile. That was of service. Whatever works. And no matter what it is you're doing, people will say, well, that's just a drop in the bucket. Is it the drop in the bucket? Well, yeah. I don't even know how big the bucket is, and neither do they. Are we talking just the planet? Are we talking our solar system? Are we talking the galaxy? I mean, it's sort of like, they don't know. I don't know. But we're going to go keep putting drops in the bucket. And then I want us to be healthy and balance all of this. So we're not, some people get so overwhelmed with the guilt. Oh, there's so many people in need. And there are people who, they're so overwhelmed. I just can't stand that other people are suffering. I'll just give everything so I can suffer too. And I'm not talking about from people from a religious or spiritual background. It's a totally different situation. There are usually set up programs where people can go and give their life over to that type of service, it's just great. But I'm not talking specifically to that population. I'm talking sort of more of a general population. We're not going to do something sort of that fundamental. You have the ability and the right to feel good about yourself, so do it. Feel good. At the same time, you need to have the guilt as a healthy reminder. It's like a little, in our vehicles, often a little light would come on in the past. The technology keeps changing, but it would be like a little light, and it would be red, and it would say, engine, and it would turn red, and it was a check engine light. And literally, it was just telling you, hey, check your engine. There might be a thing, it might need some assistance before it broke down, right? When your check engine light comes on, which is a little bit of the guilt, then that means go put some drops in the bucket. Whatever you can do, do it. And then you, at the same time, need to celebrate the fact that, A, you're here. And pull in every one of those moments. Every one of those moments where you're, oh, this. Every one of those moments. So this is a job, right? Satisfaction saturation series is not a series meaning that we don't have a lot of work to do. It just means that we've surpassed these goals. Now we have different problems and different challenges. And this is going to be one that we've got to monitor the rest of our lives. And you don't want to, again, moderation. We talk about this constantly. You don't want to go too far in any direction. The people who just are like, I don't feel guilty at all. My life is my dream. I did everything I'm supposed to. Other people didn't do what they're supposed to. They're lazy or stupid or whatever. I don't know. It's too bad for them. I don't feel bad at all. Okay, they're a narcissist. and they're very unhealthy, and they're making really poor choices, and they're and we could spend, and we do in many programs. Hey, there's going to be just a lot of poor outcomes from that. You are not to do that. On the other end of the spectrum, the people who say, I can't have anything. I feel guilty when I'm clean. Other people don't have clean water. I feel guilty when I use the restroom. Other people don't have the restroom. I get it. But you do have access, so go ahead and clean yourself. And use the restroom facilities and hygiene issues. I get it. Be of service in a healthy way. If just sort of, I'm a martyr, look at me. Really not, you're not doing anything because it's all about you again, right? Well, if you feel that you're very concerned, and I know many people, myself, one of them, this issue with access to water, access to toilets and drinking water. This is, oh, goodness, right? So give to the organizations who are doing that, or, get on a plane, train, or boat and go to the places where there's need and sit there and help. That's doing something. But just sitting around somewhere, I feel so bad, I just won't shower myself. No, you're not, no. That's about you. That's a different version of the it's all about me. Look at my ego. I'm a narcissist. No. It's balance. It's healthy balance. You simultaneously have the right to be proud and enjoy the wonderful outcomes that you have. And like I said, have those moments where you just see everything through every fiber of your being, experience that good moment, because we don't know what the future holds. And you need to have the guilt as a healthy little check engine light, right? Check ego, check community, check humanity. Oh, let me see. I need to do. It's healthy. So I'm very, very proud of you. There's a small percentage of people who get to the point where their life's more awesome than they dreamed. Appreciate that. Be grateful for that. And then use a healthy dose of being aware. The guilt should be awareness, so that you're doing something to make it a little bit better. And let's all continue in life, moving forward. We don't know what the future holds for any of us. And again, in this moment, thank you for being part of my program today. Thank you for being part of our community. Please stay in touch and let me know if there's anything that I can do. Make sure you drop by CourtneyAnderson.com so that you can see all the resources and tools that we have available for you. And stay in touch. Stay in touch. Let me know how I may be of assistance. Thank you.